Welcome to This Explainer. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of choices you have to make in your business or even just your career, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're taking the heavy and honestly sometimes kind of intimidating world of strategic business frameworks, and we're demystifying the whole shebang. To do that, we're going to look at strategy through the lens of architecture. Think of this explainer as a way to build a clear, actionable blueprint for your long-term success. So let's dive right in. It's the ultimate puzzle, right? How do you actually guarantee long-term success? I mean, research shows the average executive makes thousands of decisions every single day, literally thousands. So how do you filter through all of that daily static to make truly mission-driven, sustainable choices? Well, imagine you're an architect planning a massive 100-story skyscraper. You don't just walk onto an empty lot and start pouring concrete blindly, do you? No way. You need a master plan. You need a framework. So let's lay down the foundational concrete of our blueprint here. Strategic decisions are really built on three non-negotiable pillars. First, they're inherently long-term. Second, they're strictly mission-driven. And third, they are entirely growth-oriented. We're not talking about deciding what software update to run today or, chasing some fleeting viral trend on social media. A genuinely mission-driven choice is deciding exactly where your building is going to stand for the next century and exactly what purpose it's going to serve. Now, we all have our everyday maintenance tasks, right? Sweeping the floors, answering those standard emails, renewing software licenses. Those are your programmed, routine decisions. They're comfortable, they're predictable. But the magic, and honestly the real challenge, happens in the non-programmed, strategic decisions. These are the choices that span all the way from broad organizational pivots right down to your own deep personal career moves. They don't come with a simple rulebook, and they absolutely require active, rigorous analysis. To actually build this skyscraper, we've got to become experts at looking in two entirely different directions. First up, we have the external environment. This means looking outside for clues, observing the neighborhood around our lot, and predicting the weather patterns. And second, we have the internal environment. This is where we look inside at our actual building materials to understand what we really have in our toolkit. So let's break these two down, starting by looking out the window. Okay, first, let's step outside. Surveying the external environment is all about identifying the surrounding forces that dictate exactly how we must build. Because, let's face it, you simply cannot build a stable structure if you don't understand the ground beneath it. So how do we actually measure these outside forces? Well, business strategy is full of what I like to call alphabet soup. But don't let the acronyms scare you off. Frameworks like PEST and Porter's 5 Forces are simply your advanced external radar. That's it. PEST stands for political, economic, social, and technological factors, while Porter's 5 Forces maps out the competitive pressure in the neighborhood. Put them together, and they give us a crystal clear, high-definition map of the broader landscape. When you pinpoint these external factors, politics, economics, society, technology, competition, and regulation, you really start to see how they act like the weather on our skyscraper. A sudden shift in the economy, well, that can act like a brutal winter freeze. Meanwhile, a new piece of technology like generative AI can arrive like a powerful gale force wind. These factors are constantly creating formidable threats, but also massive opportunities. I mean, just look at Blockbuster. They totally failed to accurately scan their external environment for technological and social shifts, and that storm knocked them down completely. We have to anticipate the weather. All right, time to get out of the wind and head back inside. We've surveyed the lot, so now we need to perform an internal X-ray to uncover our true capabilities. Inside the building, we use heavy-hitting frameworks like SWOT, the McKinsey 7S, and the value chain. But again, let's just set the jargon aside for a second. We don't use these to create busy work or just to fill out whiteboards during a meeting. We use them as serious investigative tools to systematically expose our internal weaknesses and inventory our exact resources. That's how you build a true competitive advantage. Because look, the goal of an internal audit isn't just to make lists, it's to find leverage. Uncovering your internal strengths and weaknesses is ultimately about finding exactly which raw materials are going to allow you to outbuild, outlast, and outperform everyone else. It is all about pinpointing the exact resources you can leverage for a real, tangible advantage. Which brings us to the most secure, absolutely critical part of our structure, the vault. In strategic analysis, we call this the resource-based view. This is the inner sanctum where we secure our most precious assets. Relying on this view is exactly how you go beyond those quick short-term wins and actually guarantee sustainable long-term success. The resource-based view emphasizes finding assets that possess four very distinct traits. They must be rare, valuable, inimitable, and non-substitutable. To put that in plain English for a second, a prime piece of real estate might be valuable and rare, sure, but a fiercely loyal community or a deeply ingrained culture of innovation, that is inimitable, meaning a competitor can't just buy it or easily copy it. If an asset holds all four of these traits, it absolutely belongs in your vault. Now, to figure out what actually makes it into that vault, we use a step-by-step filtering sequence called VRIO. Think of it like a four-stage security checkpoint. Step 1, is it valuable? Step 2, is it rare? Step 3, is it inimitable? And Step 4, is it non-substitutable? Let's run a quick test. A generic office building? Valuable, yes, but not rare or inimitable. It doesn't pass. But think about Apple's seamless integration between its custom hardware and its operating system. It's incredibly valuable, exceedingly rare, overwhelmingly expensive to imitate, and there is literally no simple substitute. It passes the checkpoint with flying colors and becomes their ultimate competitive advantage. So, as we wrap up our structural planning today, I want to leave you with a question. Do your resources possess the four traits of sustainable success? As you walk away from this explainer, I really challenge you to apply this architectural blueprint to your own mission. Whether you're leading a massive global organization or just planning the next phase of your personal career, take a moment to deeply reflect on the strength of your strategic vault. Are you building on unshakable rock or shifting sand? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this. Keep building smartly, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.